Thank you. Well, last year we had rain, now we have fog. I mean, the weather seems quite bad in Dubrovnik, right? So, thank you so much for joining to the 4th Next Pharma Summit ever. Really grateful having you all here today. I'm Dario Safaric, the chairman and host, and some say I should deliver like an opening session for the upcoming, for driving the stage for the rest of the conversations for the upcoming 2 days. So, when I started to think about how to start next, what to say, basically I started with one super simple question, which is, why are we here today? Except the after party, vibe, drinks, venue, Dubrovnik, right? Well, I would say we are all here today because a super simple reason, which is change and transformation. And pharma as an industry definitely is going still in a huge transformation change, as we all know. If you ask me what change and transformation represents to myself, I would say being every day 1% better and not losing an eye on purpose. And I believe we as industry, we know what our purpose is, because believe it or not, we are one of the most noble industries out there in the world. However, when we put two words, pharma and transformation, into the same sentence, we usually get this, like slow, rigid, what do say, compliance, they don't speak with each other, and the rest of the stuff. However, is that really fair? Because just remember back in 2020 and what happened. I won't mention what happened, you all know, because Google will ban my video on YouTube afterwards. So the world really faced one of the hugest emergency situations ever. And how pharma respond? On a global scale, in immediate time, we introduced new medicines, new vaccines, and definitely saved humanity. On an internal scale, commercial, medical, digital teams immediately, in matter of days, even weeks, went into digital. So are we really slow? Or, of course, we can do better, but I definitely don't take the statement that pharma is a slow and rigid industry. One of my favorite quotes when it comes to change and transformation comes from Charles Darwin, who said, "It's not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change." And we all know that even the mighty T-Rex is not anymore living on the earth, right? Meaning he was not able to change and do the proper transformation in some way or another. One of my favorite band, Rolling Stones and David Bowie, well, when I listened one day in my car, I had this analogy where I said, okay, pharma is very much similar to those two guys. How? We have on one side the Rolling Stones, who are slightly changing every album, but still they are more or less the same for 50 years, right? But they know what their purpose is. Same as many pharma companies, slightly changing, but always being very good, very relevant. On the right side, we can actually see David Bowie, who incrementally changed every time, and he always implemented incremental changes in his music and in his life. And we all know that we have some emerging pharma companies who nowadays are some of the strongest companies, from Novo, Lilly, and many, many others, meaning they definitely did a huge transformation change. Today, I would like to showcase a very interesting transformation change coming outside pharma. And usually when we speak in pharma, we usually mention Google, Netflix, Amazon, and the rest of the companies, which in my opinion isn't a good analogy, because pharma is still very much occupied on human-to-human interactions. And one of the greatest industries where human-to-human matters is definitely the hospitality industry. So on this picture, you can see some of the greatest restaurants in the world. The Madison 11, placed in New York. Just for the record, Madison 11 is a super fancy restaurant. In average, the meal costs between 200, 300 euros. They are having a superstar chef, Daniel Humm. So amazing place to be, and Google it. I won't speak about that today, but they are delivering remarkable customer experience. Really Google it. It's an amazing story and journey what they did. So what did Madison 11 back in 2021? The superstar chef said, okay, we are going and transforming from all dish, all kind of restaurant serving all kind of ingredients into a vegan restaurant. Can you imagine? Huge transformation change. I mean, the target group is completely different, right? Which means people who usually go to those type of restaurants, sometimes they don't go or don't want to go to vegan restaurants, right? So how did that transformation change go? As you can see, according to the headlines, not so good, right? So just one headline, veganism might ruining 11 Madison Park and chef Daniel Humm. Daniel Humm on the left and Demi Moore on the right. So he's literally a superstar chef. So many said at that time the restaurant will go to bankruptcy. But after 1 year driving that transformation, after not losing an eye on purpose and on the huge challenges and changes which they had, ultimately, back in 2022, they have been awarded with the 3rd Michelin star, which was, by the way, the first ever vegan restaurant awarded with a 3rd Michelin star. So on bottom line, the story is, of course, they failed, but they failed on a very short run. But they stick to the agenda, they stick to the huge purpose which they initiated, and at the end, it really paid off. And the analogy which I can mention here is that certainly pharma is doing many pilots, many change processes, many transformation processes, but when we see even tiny, suspicious details and informations that we might fail, we are immediately, or most of the cases, shutting down the project, which definitely, I think, is something what our industry has to change. Also, more than ever, we are actually shaped by radical trends which are impacting us, from geopolitical violation, AI revolution, augmented reality, green energy milestones. So all of those is impacting our industry. And if you just think about AI and what AI did already, if you just think about that ChatGPT needed only 2 months to reach 100 million users, that's just incredible. TikTok needed 9 months, and for instance, Netflix, 10 years. Of course, there were different times, but in any case, they needed ultimately 2 months for reaching 100 million active users. That's just insane. So what I would like as my final notes to discuss today are actually 6 bullets which I draw here. So for the upcoming 12 to 24 months, what I see as an emerging and critical trend for commercial medical in pharma is definitely at first place customer experience, which has to be embedded across the whole organization. That's really critical. We have to speak in one language in front of our customers. Which leads me to the second point, which are actually the customers. And this is not only the HCP. The customer ecosystem for pharma goes much beyond than the HCP itself. Empathy and honesty. Like I said, pharma is one of the very rare industries where human to human still matters. And we have to still embed empathy and honesty into those relationships. We also have to balance between tech and the human aspect and align and synchronize those 2 elements. Because at the end of the day, tech and digital is not our savior, and we can't use it in every single situation and for every single sense. We also have to embrace AI. It's here to stay. And if you just think about, a year ago, we didn't know what AI meant. But now we are already embracing the technology in full capacity. And last but not least, my favorite one, to be honest, a cross-functional sustainability mindset. It's not about not taking the flight, because the flight will depart anyway. It's about creating a sustainable mindset inside organizations, where from content creation till effectiveness on terrain and other parameters will be based on sustainability. With that said, there's just one more thing before we deep dive into conversations, and this is that Next is returning next year. Guess where? To Dubrovnik, May 21st. If anyone needs ticket, I have them in the left pocket, so just let me know. And we are also doing, again, our next customer experience and AI event. We are rebranding that event for Vienna, happening October 22nd, 23rd. Last but not least, enjoying Next. Really super grateful that you all made it here. I mean, the crowd and the pharma community is really supporting us every year, bigger and bigger. Really, really thankful for that. Also thanks to the team, because definitely the production was quite tough this year. And hopefully you will enjoy in the conference like we enjoyed in designing it for you. And last but not least, just a short notice to speakers, please be cautious with time, because this year we are having also innovation, which is like a falling floor, and under the floor we have actually crocodiles. I think crocodiles, right? Okay, so that's it, and hopefully you will enjoy. Thank you so much.